Hey, good morning, good evening, good lunchtime, whatever it is, wherever you are, and welcome to sunny Edinburgh, where it's in fact 2040 in the evening, so no sun here at all. Yesterday I found out about a feature in Ecamm that I didn't know existed, a little link that allows you to group scenes or scenes overlays together and then play about with them as if they're a group. And then I found out, I can allocate a hotkey to a group. So I've been doing that kind of for most of today actually, and building up a few different scenes which I'm going to share with you this evening. All of them are in Ecamm only, so no Keynote, no Canva, no PowerPoint was used in these presentations at all. So the general idea is to build something that you can use just in Ecamm, so that if you are out and about and you've only got one screen, then you could potentially deliver some pretty nice looking presentations using Ecamm only. And I've kind of eliminated the Stream Deck requirement as well, because actually I found out that the hotkeys can do a better job for me. So let me find out where my first title scene is. So I'm starting off with a very basic sort of presentation slide. The idea is that there'll be a profile with a whole load of basic slides in there, but also a whole load of builds. And with the builds, all you have to do is copy and paste them and then just change the text to what you want it to be, or add in your own images, or add in anything you want really. You can change and size and shape absolutely everything on every one of these scenes. But I'm just going to flick through a few this evening. It's not meant to be a how-to, it's more of a show and tell type demo, and we'll see how that goes. So the sort of things that I built in are a bunch of sort of bullet builds, and I've allocated some hotkeys to the bullet builds. So when I press the keys on my keyboard, no Stream Deck involved here, what I'm doing is just advancing through my slide deck effectively within Ecamm. So let's have a look at a couple of other ones that I've done, and there's going to be quite a few here, but you'll get the idea. All I'm doing is hitting keys on my keyboard to bring in builds within each individual scene, and there is only one scene that I'm using now. So previously, before I found out about the little link, I was using sort of 4 or 5 scenes to do things. Now I can do it all in one scene. So potentially, if you've downloaded the profile, what you can do is just grab that one scene, duplicate it, and then bring it into your show and play about with it as you like. So a couple more for you. So this is example 1 of me sort of doing the sort of thing I would generally do when I'm presenting. So it's kind of, what is your problem? Let's align with the client. Let's talk about who's on my team, those sort of things. So that's really where the sort of inspiration has come from for me sort of putting the deck together. And these are a couple of examples of the kind of things that I would normally be doing with my sort of business users, which is where I normally do things. Now, obviously it's a live, so I've pressed the wrong key there because I'm not looking at the right keys. Right, let's press the right key on the keyboard this time. That's the one. So understanding your issues and our proposed solutions, that's where that was meant to go. And here's a couple of other images. So you can just imagine that what you can do is go and drag and drop your own images into these different shapes which are flying in. The slides are completely available for you to go play about with and tailor to your own needs, really. So there's quite a few of them, so I'm bound to press the wrong keys at some point or other, because it's a bit embarrassing to look down at the keyboard. But this one's more about sort of company vision, and if I press the right key, then hopefully my bullet points will come in the right order and in the right place. So again, all of this Ecamm only. That's all we're doing, just Ecamm. So I have loaded up a profile with a bunch of shapes, and I'm just flying them all in, and I've created a bunch of backgrounds because I've found out that is probably the better way to do it, to create backgrounds and then drop stuff over the top of it, rather than create millions and millions of different shapes, which is what I was doing to start with. So it's kind of a learning exercise for me. I don't think I've seen anybody doing it quite like this, and maybe there's a good reason for that, but this is where I've got to. So one of the other things I frequently deal with is project timelines on my business presentations. So let's bring in some project timeline elements. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3 with a bunch of milestones. So that's the kind of thing that I am doing all the time in my presentations. However, I might also want to, for instance, share my screen. So I've got some profiles in there where you can share your screen, looking fairly smart, I think. And another thing that I also do when I'm running a presentation is, if I want people to go look at my LinkedIn profile or a sign-in page for an event or a registration or something like that, then I tend to sort of bring in a faked up business card. So what does that look like? Well, anything you want really, but for me this is the kind of thing that I bring in my presentation to let people know how they can contact me. I pop in a little QR code as well, because I know they're sitting there with their phone and they can go to that QR code and they can find out where to either register with my LinkedIn profile and contact me, or get a download, or whatever it happens to be. I can put a little QR code in there and people can then go grab that and play about with it. So that's the kind of thing that I've done today. Excuse me, time for a small drink. Let me show you example number 2. So that was example number 1. I've just created 2 of these today, and I'll create another couple tomorrow, and then that'll be me done. I'm going to be sharing the profile out for people to go play with. Don't go grab it at the moment. That QR code will take you to a fledgling YouTube channel where I've got like 2 videos or something. So hopefully I'll improve on that and build some more stuff in. But let's have a look at another profile that I put together. Well, not another profile, it's the same profile using the same shapes, but I've created a different look and feel to the deck. So slightly different look and feel, but the same principle going on. I'm just flying things in using my keyboard and hotkeys and multiple different elements for a quite different look and feel to my deck, but I'm actually using exactly the same profile and shapes. All I've done is drag and drop them to where I want them to be on the scene, and created this sort of different look and feel. So it's very similar to the last example I showed you in terms of the order of the presentation, but it's kind of different. So you'll be able to go grab, for instance, this particular slide and then put in your own images of your own people, type in their different roles and responsibilities, and there you go. You'll have a slide straight away. You won't have to build this up. It takes a while to build the slides together, but you won't have to do that. You'll just be dropping in your own stuff on it. So that's kind of the idea and the principle behind it. So again, similar to the last one that I showed you, but a different look and feel. So what I've got flying in here are some elements from Envato Elements. So the slide deck itself, you'll need to go grab your own graphics for the individual folders, headphones, cameras, whatever they happen to be, because they're going to be directly associated with whatever you're doing, but the shapes, etc., are all going to drop in, and I will be doing a little sort of how to show you where to drop things into. So a couple of other ones, very, very similar again. This is me just flying in some simple folders. If anybody wants to know, that's a statement of work. That is a project management folder. This one is a reporting folder. And this one's a user acceptance testing folder. So not particularly exciting unless you happen to be in the software world, as I am with a lot of business clients. But I have managed to now create a couple of proposals using Ecamm only, and record them and distribute them with my clients or potential clients, and that allows them to redistribute them wherever they want to, and I can also do that with my internal teams as well. So that's turned out to be very powerful, and in fact I've just got a new business order from that just the other day. So again, this is a sort of company vision statement, and I'm just flying in a few bullet points, but all of this Ecamm only, nothing other than my keyboard, absolutely no sort of animated overlays involving sort of Apple ProRes 444 or anything like that. There is nothing like that here. This is all pure Ecamm. So again, my project timeline type of one, where I bring in my different phases. And I would imagine that anybody looking at this thinks, oh, I must be doing something with Keynote, or I must be doing something with creating little background animations or something like that. I'm not. Absolutely everything here is in Ecamm, and all I'm doing is flying in some shapes that I put together in a library. So next one, I think I quite like this one just because it doesn't involve me flying anything in. So that's just a straightforward screen share, but I think it looks quite smart. And here we go again with the how to contact me type of thing. So another variation on the business card, along with, in this case, my link to the YouTube channel, which is not particularly good at the moment, but it's something that I don't really see a lot of people doing, but you could, and therefore I thought I would share this out with the group. And as I say, there will be a profile for everybody to go and download and play with. I'm kind of hoping it's tomorrow, but I keep saying that, so you know, maybe it will get a bit delayed. We will see. So comment from a Facebook user there. Hello Facebook user, tell me your name. Is it easier to do it and faster to do it all in Ecamm? It's a good question, and the answer is it's taken me a long time to get to this particular point. However, now that I have, the idea is that everything is loaded into a profile. So you'll be able to go download the profile, and everything that you see in front of you here is in that profile. So you'll just be able to say, oh, I like that slide, cut and paste that into my run of show, or I like those elements from that slide, and you can go grab individual elements within that slide and cut and paste them to a blank scene, or change the background, because there's about a dozen different backgrounds you can choose from. So it's a new way of thinking, it's a different way of working, and you know, as they say in The Mandalorian, this is the way. I'm not sure if it is the way yet or not, we'll wait and see, but I think that actually building everything up once you have a profile with all the resources sitting there turns out to be very, very quick, very, very easy. And in fact, yesterday on a live, I created a total build in less than 5 minutes. So hey P, how you doing? Thank you for joining me, and thanks to the likes of Rochelle and Val and Doug and Maggie and Hank and Dan and T and Dane and Neil and Eric and Johnny and Roberto for dropping comments in as I've been going through this process and trying to get it to look smart and tidy. Hopefully you'll all be joining me at some point or other when I eventually sort of release the profile for general use. But it's actually a lot easier than it would appear as I'm showing you all this stuff, because all of this is effectively like, I suppose, like downloading a template from Envato Elements for Keynote or for PowerPoint or something like that. What it is not like is downloading overlays. If you download an overlay, then it's fixed. You just get like kind of 3 or 4 holes on the screen and you can't do anything with it. And some of them look quite nice, but the reality is if you want to go change them and tweak them around a bit, you can't. But with what I'm doing here, you can pretty much do anything that you want to, and it's just your imagination is the limit, really. So here's one as well. This is the one that I created on the fly yesterday, which was just me dropping in a background, dropping in my camera, a orange circle behind me and a sort of little yellow flow in the background, and then dropping in some elements to build up some bullet points. And this is what it was looking like. So this is me bringing in some bullet points, but I decided to do it kind of staggered in this particular case, just because I could, really, to see what would happen. So in this scene, I can go change absolutely anything that I want to. So if I go grab some of these things here, because this is a group, I can move it around as a group. And if I don't want them staggered and I want them all to be even, then I can move my bullet points so they're all even. If I want this up here in the corner, this sort of yellow blob or yellow curve to be a different size, then I can do that if I want to. If I want to go to my library and grab in something totally different, so I'm going to go to my library. I'll disappear off the screen for a second. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just add a logo in. That would be the easier thing. So I've got a folder called My Stuff as well, which is where I put all of my things. So I'm going to go grab a logo. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab a logo, white text logo, and I'm going to drop that back onto the scene that we were on a moment ago, assuming I can find it, of course. Which I think I have. So I'm going to come back onto my scene, and all I've done is I've gone to the library of shapes, etc., and picked out one of my logos, and I've gone and dragged that and dropped it onto my scene. So you can do all of that very, very simply and create completely from scratch your own scenes. But for tonight, that is probably it for me, because it's 9 o'clock at night, or 2 minutes to 9. So I'm going to press the double finish button. Thanks for joining me, P. Hopefully we'll do again. This is something totally different. It is a new way of thinking. This is the way. Cheerio. Good night from sunny Edinburgh. Bye for now.